Coming up on the bench, Syracuse football attempted to begin its season 6-0 for the first time since Ronald Reagan's presidency. Could the Cuse tear down the Wolfpack wall? We'll let you know.
And it's been 5 steps forward and 1 step back for Syracuse men's soccer this season. After back-to-back home wins, the Orange hit the road for a top 15 matchup. Could SU continue to put one foot in front of the other?
Well, Cuse ice hockey had a home-and-home on consecutive days with Clarkson. That was closer than most of the experts would have predicted. It's a live edition of On the Bench, and it starts right now. Welcome into On the Bench. I'm John Dales. He's Calvin Christoforo. Calvin, are you aware we're both observing a holiday right now?
I'm not. Can you fill me in?
I'd love to fill you in. Today is National No Beard Day, and I'd say we're doing a pretty bang-up job celebrating.
Look at us. It's so good we're doing this live.
I know. It's unbelievable. Well, we're celebrating that, and some more people have something to celebrate inside the SU Athletics Department, which kicks off our headlines. This past week, Orange football alums Chandler and Arthur Jones made a 7-figure donation towards the John Lally Athletics Complex, specifically the new Football Operations Center. The Jones brothers have joined other former football players that have donated to the SU's Forever Orange campaign this year, including Michael Bill and David Tate.
Well, although the money is rolling in for the Cuse football program, somebody cue the job music. Dun-dum, 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 because Syracuse Hoops is right around the corner. SU men's and women's basketball teams held their annual Orange Tip-Off event in the Dome this weekend. The night featured scrimmages, events, and a 3-point shooting contest, along with a half-court shot and a dunk contest won by Benny Williams, John. Largely because you didn't participate, which I don't know what's up with that.
I had a bad knee.
That's it. Yep, classic. You could have gone pro, but that knee just messed you up.
It helped me out. Last time that I tried to dunk on Benny Williams, though, I did get him.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll show that video coming up.
We got that coming later. Well, on Saturday, campus was a frenzy as number 18 Syracuse football hosted number 15 NC State inside the JMA Dome. The Orange tried to become bowl eligible in the least amount of games necessary. Entering at 5-0, just one more win would guarantee the Cuse a bowl berth for the first time in 4 years. NC State would win the toss right off the bat and defer, so that meant the Orange would get the ball first, and they got started on the right foot. First drive of the game, Syracuse marches right down the field, and this 12-yard pitch and catch from Garrett Schrader to Arande Gadsden puts SU up 7-0. Scores 10-3, 4 minutes left in the half, and Schrader, with a year and a half to throw this ball, goes to the end zone. This time he's picked off by Tanner Engel. The SU defense would hold, get it right back, but here comes another dangerous throw from Schrader into traffic. Lucky for him, Gadsden bails him out, mosses the defender, yet you can't rely on that every time. Very next play, Schrader gets picked off for the second time in as many drives. Aiden White jumps in front of Courtney Jackson. You saw it on your screen a second ago there. First game with 2+ picks in 3 years for QB1. He bounced back though, scores 10-6 late third quarter. Gadsden out of the backfield scores again. 17-6 SU in front. Arande doing things Cuse fans haven't seen in years. He finished with 8 grabs, 141 yards. That Orange defense was great though too. NC State QB Jack Chambers sacked by JT's gear here. Wolfpack settled for another field goal, made it 17-9. One possession game, next drive, 3 minutes left. Schrader needs a first down on third down. He finds a target not named Arande Gadsden. Damian Alford hauls in a 34-yard catch, and 2 plays later, it's Sean Tucker who puts the icing on the cake with this 25-yard sprint into the end zone. The Orange win it 24-9 over the Wolfpack. Students rushed the field, John Bolajak included, and CitrusTV's Spencer Pierce was amidst the storm postgame.
Just because there's a roof on the JMA Wireless Dome doesn't mean that it can't storm. Syracuse came into this game at 5-0 with a tough task to handle, number 15 NC State. And while their 11 players on the field did just the job to get the win, it was the 12th man that really made the impact.
So proud of the student body, wow. And the community getting behind this team, and what a 12th man, what an effect on the game.
Syracuse finds themselves at 6-0 for the first time since 1987, a season where they went undefeated. They'll be bowling for the first time since 2018, due in large part to their defense, which didn't let NC State touch that. Michael Jones says it's a lot easier than it looks.
We held the offense to less points than they held our offense to. And it's just like, we're just going to keep showing people what we're capable of.
That was big-time defensive football, and sometimes you just got to throw those body punches in there before you get an opportunity for somebody to stick his chin up a little bit too high so you can take it off.
Syracuse will head south to Death Valley and face Clemson next week, who they haven't beat since 2018. The winner of that game will take the top spot in the ACC. Reporting from the JMA Wireless Dome, Spencer Pierce, CitrusTV.
Thanks, Spencer. Quite a game, a signature win for SU right there, but Calvin, he just hinted at it. Does it get the Cuse ready for this upcoming battle with Clemson?
I don't know, John. Clemson and NC State, a couple of different teams, especially with NC State being without their starting quarterback. Clemson at 7-0, 5-0 in the conference, has really just dominated the competition, Syracuse included, since that 2018 SU win.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The numbers seem to trend the way of the Tigers, but you just mentioned that 2018 game. Probably should have been an Orange win, and that was still the case back then. The Orange heading into that one, big underdogs, but they nearly pulled off the upset.
Yeah, it was tight on the road in Death Valley. Not many teams go into the shadows, the Valley of Death, and come out with a win. Syracuse with that proposition. Here's the thing, though. If they do get it done, they have a 2-game lead atop the Atlantic Division of the ACC. The road to the ACC championship game, if Syracuse wins this contest, literally goes through the dome without wires.
It's a big if, though. Huge
It really is. It really is. There's a ton of excitement, obviously, about the SU football program off to an undefeated start, and excitement about the men's basketball team. But there's also a ton of people getting ready for the SU women's hoops team, now led by first-year head coach Felicia Leggett-Jack. Our women's basketball beat reporter Nick Luttrell sat down with the new bench boss, whose number 33 hangs in the arena where the team plays its games.
You've done so much already as a player here, as a coach at various universities. Why come back here and continue to coach? Why not just stay home, kick your feet up, watch TV? What makes you keep going?
Oh, I'm a coach, and I'm going to be coaching for a long time. Not Jim Boeheim long time, but, I think I got 10 to 15 more years in me, because I just think that this game is an opportunity for me to help young people believe in themselves. And the carrot is the basketball. And something I love, they love. But through this game of basketball, we have lots of conversation about how to grow young people for the next 70-plus years of their lives. And whether it's going to be here or somewhere else, it was going to be me coaching somewhere. And to have my alma mater give me this opportunity to do it here is icing on the cake.
Thanks, as always, to Nick and Coach Jack. That brings us into our first break. Don't touch that remote, though. When we come back, we're talking SU men's soccer. We'll let you know if the Orange continued their winning ways.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
We're back on the bench. He's Calvin Christoforo. I'm John Dales. Calvin, are you a fan of ice cream?
Come on, John. Do you think I hate fun? I mean, I love ice cream.
All right, well, good. The reason I ask is it tends to be
You
a
have
dish.
some?
I don't have any.
Oh.
But it's a dish that's best served cold. Would you agree?
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's not best served soup, so.
You're right. And, there's another thing that's best served cold, and you know what else falls into that category?
Gazpacho.
No, close. Revenge. Revenge is exactly what Syracuse men's soccer had on its mind on Friday because it was playing Louisville, a team that's had the orange number and then some recently. Entering that game, the Cuse hadn't beaten the Cardinals since November 1st, 2008. Remember that game?
Yeah, the game right before November 2nd. That was a big one.
Well, anyways, that was the last time that SU had beaten the Cards. I don't think Lorenzo Baselli remembers it, unfortunately for the Orange. He also didn't remember to stay onside in the second minute of the game when he headed this one in. That goal called off because of the offside penalty. We stay scoreless. 19th minute, though, Nathan Apoku with another Syracuse chance. No need for a cross. His 8th goal of the season. Cuse up 1-0 just 10 minutes of game time later. 29th minute, Levante Johnson gets past the Cardinals defenders and finishes. He had the assist on that earlier goal. 3 points for him. 2-0 SU lead at the half. 54th minute, Louisville with its best chance, breakaway wide open in front of the net. Sander Rode must have been watching Alabama football lowlights because he goes wide right. Differential stays at 2. Wasn't all positives for the Orange though. Giorgio Kuchevsky sent off with his second yellow. Second game in 3 tries that he's done that. And suddenly after that, Louisville's Josh Jones scores on the rebound in the 89th minute. Too little too late though. 2-1 Syracuse wins. First time in 14 years.
And the Orange got to run it back tonight, actually, when they took on the Bucknell Bison, trying to take care of a squad that came in at just 2-11 and losers of 4 straight. The Bison, though, actually got this game going on the right foot. Just 12 minutes in, Bucknell scored, but 2 Levante Johnson goals were the difference for the Cuse in this game. SU grabs another win in the non-con and another midweek dub to improve to 12-2-1 on the season, and 5-1 in conference play remains the Orange's mark.
Well, somebody who knows his fair share about that team is our men's soccer beat reporter, Andrew Sullivan. He joins us now from outside SU Soccer Stadium following Syracuse's 2-1 win. Andrew, let me start with this. Earlier today, the Orange jumped up to number 4 in this week's NCAA soccer rankings. You think they played like the number 4 team in the nation tonight?
Yeah, John, I think when a lot of people look at the scoreline, they'll say number 4 Syracuse plays a 2-11 Bucknell team and only wins by 1. Maybe they're a little overhyped. But when you look at the stats, 29 shots for the Orange, 15 of them on target. That's pretty impressive, and head coach Ian McIntyre said after the game, this was a lot similar to the performance last Monday against Loyola when the Orange came out and won 6-1. SU just wasn't quite clinical enough in the attacking third tonight to blow out the Bison. But for Syracuse, you have to give them credit where credit's due. The Orange have found ways to win close games. Last year, SU didn't win a single one-goal game. That's why in November, SU was sitting on the couch watching the playoffs from home. And this year, Syracuse has already won 6 one-goal contests. That's why the Orange are poised to host playoff games come November.
Well, Andrew, the reason the Orange survived, I think, on the field that's behind you, albeit I can't see it, was Levante Johnson. I mean, what has gotten into this dude? 3 goals in his first 12 games of the season, but now 5 in his last 3, including both tonight. And the team probably didn't win without him. So what has gotten in this
Calvin,
guy over the past
Levante
week?
Johnson, as you said, he's been on fire as of late. He's really become the number 1 attacking option for the Orange. 4 goals in the last 3 games, and there's 2 things that Levante Johnson does really well. First off, he's very physical despite having a smaller body. He's able to hold possession for the Orange against big defenders in the ACC. The other thing that Levante Johnson talked about today post-game is he has a lot of pace. He's faster than most defenders, not only in the ACC, but also in college soccer. That helps him get in behind defending lines for opposing teams. That helps him get one-on-one opportunities with goalkeepers, and that's how he scored both goals tonight to give the Orange the win. Look for Levante Johnson to be option number 1 going forward for SU.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for taking the time. Syracuse men's soccer, another big win tonight. Continue to follow Andrew's coverage of the SU men's soccer run all season long. But while the SU men's squad is continuing to find success, SU women's soccer was feeling good as well, coming off a 2-2 draw against Virginia last week. The Cuse returned home to face Clemson over the weekend on Friday in a game that was tight all throughout. Syracuse has actually never beaten this Tigers team, 0-7-1 all time, coming off an 8-0 loss last year, and the Tigers hop on the board first. Shea Vanderbosch makes a save, but Renee Lyles there to clean up the garbage. 1-0 the Clemson lead in the 16th minute. Syracuse having to play catch-up all night long. A common theme. They can't get on this try, though. Jenna Tivnen's shot goes across the net and over. No goal. Still in the first half, Syracuse keeping a 1-0 disadvantage because of their goalie, Shea Vanderbosch, who has just been excellent. The freshman coming in as the third stringer on the depth chart has made her stamp in the ACC. That her biggest save of the night to keep it a 1-0 game, and it sets up for this. Cross goes in. Jenna Tivnen's head finds it. That is the second goal of the season for the grad student, and a huge one to make this a 1-1 contest. Clemson one final opportunity, but it whistles high, and Syracuse holds on for another tie.
Well, folks, we might set a record in this show for the most soccer beat reporter appearances. You heard from Andrew Sullivan already. We now welcome on our SU women's soccer beat reporter, Colin Davies. Colin, thanks for joining us in studio.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, well, Colin, we just talked about SU women's soccer against Clemson. When you're talking about this year's Orange team, it starts and ends with the goalkeeper. The Orange have certainly struggled in ACC play, but can you put things into perspective for us just how much Shea Vanderbosch is willing her team to be competitive every game?
Oh yeah, she's been huge, and when I talked to Coach Adams, she said that the big thing for Vanderbosch when she recruited her was that she makes big-time plays for this team. She's a big-time player. She's come up clutch all season long. She's not just consistent as a freshman, but she's explosive. She can dive from post to post. She's been keeping this Orange team in games all season long, and they wouldn't be where they are without her so far.
Big-time players make big-time plays. Shea Vanderbosch been doing that. Let's look ahead, though. The Orange have 3 games left in this regular season, and it's a tough road. All of them in the ACC, all of them against teams with winning records. What should SU's expectations be down the home stretch?
Yeah, for SU, we're going to be looking at the ACC tournament. That's probably not going to happen because they are going to have to win out to make this tournament, and they're now going to have to also need other teams to lose out that are on the bubble, and that's just not going to happen. So for them, they're going to look at their upcoming schedule this season, which they got 3 games versus 3 teams that are above them in the ACC right now. If they can go 1-1-1 in those games, that's the expectation. That's going to be okay. If they do anything less than that, slightly disappointed. But this team does have the potential to do 1-1-1 or better. Come out 4 points or more out of this final stretch, and we can look back on this season with happy faces.
That's the blueprint for how to end things with a happy face if you're an SU women's soccer fan. That's Colin Davies. You can catch him talking soccer on Twitter at DaviesColin. Well, that brings us to another break. Calvin, I hope you brought your parka because we're talking Syracuse ice hockey on the other side. OTB, back in 90 seconds.
Not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Looking for these? You drive Buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back on the bench, John Dales, Calvin Christoforo. And John, every time you feel that chill in the air, it makes you think of Syracuse's hockey cathedral. You know all the names, the Tip, the Old Barn.
Historic 10 of the Ice Pavilion?
Of course, the historic 10 of the Ice Pavilion. Truly a palace full of history. But this year, the history hasn't been good for the Orange to start the season. Under first-year head coach Brittany Smith, the Orange started 1-4, but had a chance to turn things around this weekend with a home-and-home against number 11 Clarkson. The first game down at the old Pavilion. Syracuse taking on a Golden Knights team that has dominated them in history. 22 matchups with no points against Clarkson for the Cuse, and things weren't any different to start this game. First period in Cherkowski will find it out in front and beat Ariel Desmet 1-0. The Golden Knights lead, and things would only go from bad to worse. Still in this first period, a really bad defensive blunder in the back end by the Syracuse defense. Puck loose in front, which means puck scores in front. Kristen McQuiggy scores to make it a 2-0 Clarkson lead. In a period, they outscored the Orange 9-1. Ariel Desmet in net for the Cuse had been great all season long. This just not her night. Syracuse down by a field goal. They finally get on the scoreboard with a Tatum White shorthanded goal. 3-1 your score, but in the third period, Clarkson to put it away. First, Gretchen Barton scores to make it 4-1. Syracuse makes it 4-2, but this empty netter would do it as the Golden Knights grab the first of this two-game set.
One day later, the Orange lace them up, get right back out there, this time in Potsdam. And this time, Syracuse would strike first. On the power play, Maya Darcy from the blue line scores. It's the first time this season the Cuse score the first goal of the game. Celebration short-lived, though. 3-on-2 break the other way results in a goal for, guess who? Ann Cherkowski. Second period, it would stay tied at 1, but not for very long, up until this backhand goal from Gabrielle David. She goes what the kids would like to refer to as top shetter. 2-1. Clarkson leads. Syracuse not quite ready to quit just yet, though. On the power play, the outstanding sophomore Madison Primo, with less than a minute left in the second period, scores. The Orange have life. Game tied at 2, but Gabrielle David was a force to be reckoned with in this one. She scores again right in front of the crease, and that was the game winner. SU falls to 1-6 after the loss. Well, we talked about a lot of different SU athletes to this point in the show, and we're going to keep doing that, but Calvin's off the screen for a reason. It's time to cue up the music, set the clock. The 2-minute drill starts right now.
Well, John, the calendar hasn't even turned into winter yet, but Syracuse field hockey has been making snowmans all over the place the past few weeks. The Orange are rolling everything in sight and putting up snowballs in the opposing team's score column. In the Cuse's recent 5-game winning streak, SU allowed just one single goal. But it's never a snowball fight when you play the #1 team in the country in the 5-time defending ACC champions North Carolina. And if you think the Heels were thinking winter, well, UNC pulled out a heater and melted SU to a 6-1 sauna party on Friday. With the loss, SU now drops to 12-3 in the season, with all 3 of their losses coming on the road. This one on the back of UNC midfielder Riley Heck. With just 3 games left on the regular season slate, SU now starts a 2-game homestand with Louisville and Rutgers this weekend.
From the field to the hardwood, let's talk SU volleyball, who finished a road trip to the Tar Heel State, 1 up and 1 down over the weekend. On Friday, the Cuse luggage, the team plane, the team itself, they all showed up down in Raleigh. But once the game started, it seemed apparent their will to win didn't make the trip down south. The Wolfpack dominated the Orange 3-0, marking the 3rd straight time the Cuse had been swept in straight sets. 2 days later, though, SU bounced back with a 3-2 win over UNC. After tying a season-low 9 kills in the loss to NC State, Polina Shimanova was back to her usual self with 21 kills to go along with 19 digs. Calvin, let's take a page out of her book. Visualize the ball right here. I'm setting you up for a spike.
And we spike that all the way to Wisconsin, where it stops on the heels of the running Orange men's and women's cross-country teams. They both finished 13th out of 33rd in the Nutty Comb Invitational over the weekend. Nathan Lawler was the best finisher on the men's side. He finished with a smooth 23:31 in the 8K. On the women's side, Savannah Roark's time of 20:21 in the 6K was that team's tastiest time. We're reaching the end of our time here on the bench, and when we come back, we'll tell you who made the best plays and who stood out the most. Our top plays and top performers are next. OTB will BRB.
precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Closing up shop here on OTB, John Dills, Calvin Christoforo. Calvin, you know what this point in the show means?
Almost time for you to buy me dinner.
Close. It means we're talking top plays of the week. Unfortunately, our perfect spike in the 2-minute drill wasn't impressive enough to get on the list.
Do you need me to do it again?
I'm mad about it. We'll do it later. Thank you. But I've gotten over it. It's okay. We start with a familiar face, and we start with Arande Gadsden. He's had plenty of top play appearances so far this season. He gets another with this baptism of NC State safety Cyrus Fagan. We'll show it to you again just for good measure. It's that good. Picked it off the top of his head. SU football goes on to win 24-9.
I remember when I did that to you last week on the old exhibition field. But we go to the pitch for our second top play of the week. Nathan Opoku. Dive, duck, dip, dodge, goal. Opoku to the back of the net. This guy can score in a phone booth. Look at his tricky dribbles. Gets, first of all, the nutmeg pass. Then he makes this guy go where? Goal. Syracuse, a big-time win over Louisville on the road.
That was good, but our number one play of the week in SU Athletics goes to Jenna Tivnen. Just the second goal of the season for the grad student. Been a season to forget for SU women's soccer. That goal to tie Clemson, though. The celebration after as well. Certainly a moment to remember.
I can really do it all, though. That spike, Jenna Tivnen, header,
and your fake catch over me. Yeah.
See it again. You saw it there, so you know it was real. But we're going into our top performers. And speaking of some big-time goals, Levante Johnson has been scoring them aplenty for Syracuse men's soccer as of late. The Seattle transfer scored goals in each of SU's 2 wins last week, including a 3-point contest. And tonight against Bucknell, that trend continued with a pair of goals and a 2-1 win.
Levante Johnson, performer number 1. Our next performer of the week is the brick wall SU women's soccer has in net. Shea Vanderbosch has been a star for the Orange this year. They wouldn't have had a prayer against Clemson if not for her. And she saved 4 of the 5 shots Clemson put on goal. The biggest one came in the waning moments of the game, a couple minutes right before Jenna Tivnen's equalizer, in a game they would go on to tie 1-1.
Big-time player she has been all season long. But as she was saving things for the soccer team, Arande Gadsden saving the SU football team. Where would this squad be without their tight end wide receiver combo? The sophomore had 8 catches for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns. He now leads the ACC with 3 100-yard receiving games in this season.
Well, there you have our performers of the week. Arande Gadsden caps it off. We've heard a lot from him. Maybe we'll hear a lot going forward. Well, alongside Calvin Christoforo, I'm John Dale saying thanks for joining us. And here are your images of the week.
Schrader flushed. He throws. Downfield and caught. What a catch by Arande Gadsden. Hughes on the ground with Tucker. To the edge. To the end zone. And a big-time tackle by Isaiah Johnson. Free play and a shot to the end zone. And caught by Gadsden.
Coach 6.